Good afternoon, everyone. So we are now cruising on overdrive mode to our next session, where we have a very distinguished guest from the Indian Print Manufacturers Association, which is commonly known as IPAMA. We are fortunate enough to have Mr. S. Dayakar Reddy, who is the president of IPAMA. In fact, he is, I think, one of the maybe the only IPAMA president who has been president for 3 years. That's what I saw very recently. And he, in fact, I was shocked to hear he actually has been tested positive, asymmetric COVID positive, and he's quarantined, and he's but been sincere enough and generous enough to have accepted, participating in this session. There's going to be a session on where he's going to touch upon two very critical aspects about our industry. One, he's going to talk about environment and sustainability, which are becoming buzzword for the industry. And he's going to talk a lot because I believe, seeing this industry from close quarters for long, been working a lot for many years. I think the Indian printing industry is way behind its environmental responsibility. I think Mr. Reddy is going to touch upon that. And he's also going to touch upon some of the the issues, I won't call issues, or some of the policies which perhaps the government and the association per se needs to set aside and work towards the betterment of industry. So a little bit, couple of words for Mr. Reddy. Mr. Reddy is the owner and CEO of Gutenberg Machinery, which is a company selling equipments out of India, and is also owners of Sai Industries. He's based out of Hyderabad, and without wasting too much of time, I would like to welcome Mr. Reddy into the floor. Welcome, Mr. Reddy. Good to have you.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Pankaj and team. It was, yes, I've been tested positive just 48 hours before, but time will speak. We have to be positive. I'm always a positive person in my life. We have been faced so many incidents. In fact, even IPAMA also, if you all remember, in 2017, November 9th, Mr. Modi has announced demonetization, and our show was in February. So whole India, none of the shows has been took off. Only print pack we did in the same dates. I think that time it was in end of January, and we did, and we have been proved 100% right that associations, if at all they have a well planned and well dedication, things can change in time. Okay, now today I wish your team for successfully conducting virtual show also simultaneously with this seminars. Now I would like to point out few things. First of all, you all know from last 6 months we have been talking about only one thing: PPE kit, PPE kit, PPE kit. Without PPE kit, there's nothing is moving in the world across the globe. So what is PPE kit? PPE kit is a plastic basically. So just about few years back, if you see on, I think October on Gandhi Jayanti day, Mr. Modi has announced that plastic is going to be banned. Then before that, non-woven is going to be banned. So definitely these things are harmful to the environment, but at certain extension only. The key factor is how we are going to deal with them. That is very, very important. Next. That's very going to be very, very important. So now what I was being telling is PPE kits after COVID. I'm proudly say packaging industry, printing industry had gained certain respect out of across the industry. Earlier, we have been watching, we have been talking this many decades. Printing, people thinks that printing is just a part of any particular product or any particular events. But today, this COVID era has been proved. Today, whatever you can see, right from the PPE kits, right from the label, right from the medicines, everything. So whole packaging industry, right from food, pharma, everything has been put lot of entire industry. I would call them as a COVID warriors. I really bow to them. They've all put a lot of efforts and to save millions of people across the globe with this. So before we going into environmental issues, I would like to say one very important thing. Probably most of the people would be knowing, but many to learn. A paper can be recycled a maximum of 7 times, 5 to 7 times. But how many times, whatever the paper board we are using, are recycling? So that is the key question I am asking all the participants here who are listening to me, because every time we use a paper, anything, any kind of paper or board, it is our responsibility what is going to be next of that particular substitute. So we should encourage each and every vendors, our customers, obviously, and try to now a lot of MNC companies are putting a lot of efforts to give eco-friendly and recycling process to their end customers, which they have been succeeding. There are few food companies, if you bring back your bottle or you bring back your empty pack, they would be giving certain discounts. And you all know many railway stations, bottle dispensers have been installed. If you put bottle, you get 1 rupee back. So these kind of initiatives government definitely are doing, but at a part from our end, as entrepreneurs, as a responsible citizens of this content, this world, we have to also put a lot of these efforts. So, as I said, 5 to 7 times a paper can be maximum recycled can be possible. So it is your responsibility also. You are not only a converter, you are not only a printer, you are not only a digital printer. It is your responsibility while delivering your particular product. Please give us certain kind of SOPs to your customers. What end of that utilization of that particular product, what you can do. Next, Ruchika. So, as I said earlier, packaging has a positive and negative thing, but you all know only people will talk about negative things, and even government authorities also, they take only the negatives, they don't take the positive. So I would ask you one small question to all of you: how I am going to pack liquids? That may be a milk, that may be oil, that may be, every milk packet cannot be packed in a glass bottle. That would be huge expensive. Again, recycling would be a problem. So I will sure, and I'm 100% confident that plastic cannot be replaced with any other material. Plastic will be there as long as this entire globe is there. So only the thing is how you're going to recycle it. That is very, very important. So definitely there will be environmental consequences while when you use packaging materials. Then you all know we use all plastic or food packs, and we will throw it into wherever we can see the space. We don't do it properly. We don't recycle it properly. So that is causing, not only the human. If you see our seas, you all know how much of plastic is accumulating in the entire seas. There are few NGOs who have been working Saturdays, Sundays. They are getting tons of plastics from the Mumbai and Kolkata and other parts of the seas also in the country. Not only this, across the globe is the same thing happening. So when you go out also, when you go for a pleasure, you can't create a problem to somebody else. Maybe it is water animals or whatever it may be. So you have to be so conscious after completing your food or packaging. You should be properly take care of it. Next, Chika. So this is how our packaging would be used. So if you see the statistics, 69% is food. 69%. Of course, probably in India, we are not using at 69%, because if you see any kind of fruits across the country, I'm not talking about the high-end supermarkets, but normally those things sold in a loose only. It is not packed. So there is a huge scope in food industry as well as pharma industry also. You all know India is a pioneer in pharmaceutical pharmaceutical, bulk drug pharmaceutical, and we are day by day growing in even food sector also. So this is how it has been utilized, how the packaging material can be are going to be utilized across the globe. 69% is food and drinks. As I said earlier, the liquid parts. Of course, recent Johnny Walker has ventured into their liquor bottles. Now they would like to come up with a paper packaging. So very interesting. Probably we look forward to see those kind of packagings. But before we venture into new technologies, you have to calculate. Maybe the Johnny Walker bottle will cost you at least $45 per bottle, the lowest price. So we can able to afford it. But if I am talking about a 70 rupees milk packet, if I spend 50 rupees for a bottle, that's not viable. So before venturing into these kind of packaging, also you have to look into your ROIs. But it is good that a few companies have already coming up with the paper packaging in milk and edible oils also. Then education and recreation is the 9%. Clothing, yes. So you all know each and every cloth has been packed in a plastic sheet before putting into any box or anything else. But these days that has been reduced. Good brands they're trying to replacing with paper bags again. Then home and interiors. Next page. So we are all talking about laws for implementing these environmental issues. So there have been consistent laws. 1980, 86 there is a Environment Protection Act. Then which was been plastic waste management in 2011. These are all coming, but how far we are following them? See, as a government, what they can do is they can only give a guideline and they can give you in hand, and not everyone. In a broader prospect, they can give you certain SOPs, certain guidelines, certain financial beneficials to the companies who have been doing recyclable stuff. So, but as a responsible person, it is our responsibility also to definitely follow those things and educate our immediate next people. Probably each and every company will have hundreds of people. We have to, how we have been giving COVID instructions to them. So now we should see that, all these acts as well as SOPs should be displayed in all our work premises, offices, factories, so that people will get more and more attracted to those things, and probably things will not change in overnight. It will take time. So we have, as entrepreneurs, as a responsible person, we have to do these SOPs should be displayed in your working places. Next, please. So whenever they comes with a standards, they will delete some or add some things, but as in India, I'm sure that most of the people will be accepting this. We have millions of SME companies in the country, millions of the company, but how many are really implementing those things? So now we, as a 25, 26 years experience, I would say that the recycling, what is happening in India, is not up to the standards of like Japan. Japanese and European people are more concerned about these things, and they have been really doing a great job. You all might be knowing it, when we print sleeve printings, film. Toyo has introduced recently, once you printed the film, the substitute, that UV printing can be, clean with the equipment. So this is what exactly we're looking into. Maybe as a converter, we claim that, I have got the I have done the printing, but it is not my job. Once it goes to the end consumer, so it is his responsible to do the recycling. So now they have come up with those kind of technology. You can reprinted material can be rewashable, that can be permanently removed, so that that film can be reusable without any UV stuff on it. So it's a very good initiative, Daben, and I hope other players also, the 5-6 major players across the globe are already working on it. I'm sure very soon this could be a process of our printing units regularly. Yeah, next please. Hello? 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 Hello?
Ruchi.
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me? Pankaj?
Yeah. Ruchi, can you change the slide?
Yeah. So how can we now we have already entered into 21st century. So how can we be innovative when we talk about biodegradable packaging? So biodegradable packaging importance is products of renewable sources for their positive impact on the nature, accumulation of plastic in environment, reduction of fertile land, wear of oil walls, releasing gases during installations have promoted efforts to develop biodegradable packaging plastics. The largest sector in the demand for biopackaging is food industry. As I said, the majority of packaging would be using in food industry only. So you all know in India also, I think probably very soon we are expecting new laws because a lot of companies have been using high definition inks for their printed food grade packaging. So the BIS is already almost, I think probably next couple of months we can expect new laws in India also. So you should be carefully follow the government guidelines also before accepting your deliveries. And of course, the major companies always giving their guidelines. But when we are talking about mid-range and small-range clients, you should educate them. I have come across many customers, the low-grade emulsion inks, which is costing 2.5% than the regular grades. When I asked my customers, they said, no, Reddy Sahab, that is 2.5% more expensive. But my dear friends, our life is much, much precious than the 2.5%. We all have to live in this platinum of this world. So you have to be more focused on it. So the largest sector demand for biopackaging is in food industry. As I said, the rapid development in industry has led to problems with non-degradable packaging. But it takes time. Yes, as I said, the SOPs, the guidelines has to go to the converters as well as individual users, the end user, the MNC companies. Work and patience while retaining them into biopackaging. Next, Ruchika. So the traditional way of dealing the biodegradable packaging materials is divided into 3 generations based on historical development. The first one is first generation. The first generation material is used for shopping bags. You all know when you go to shopping, consistent of synthetic polymers such as, of course, now it has been dropped maximum. Now most of the people are using paper bag only. The good part in India is, last 2 years there is a huge demand shift over from plastic to paper or craft paper for even the groceries also, which is a very good move by government at India, as well as the market has accepted immediately. So that's shopping bags can be a big reliever for first generation thing, and 5 to 15% starch filers and peroxoxiding of auto-oxidate additives. Later, these material decomposes as a biofragment into smaller molecules that are not biodegradable. such materials have created very bad image of biomaterials, especially for consumers who are convinced that they played in the terms of degradable. Next, Ruchika. The second, no, last one, yeah. The second generation biomaterials comprising a mixture of pre-galvanized starch for 40 to 70% and low density polyethylene LDPE with the addition of hydropolyc polypolymers such as ethonyl and acrylic acid, polyvinyl alcohol and vinyl acrylate, which are used to impact a complete degradation of starch takes 40 days, and the degradation of the whole of the above mentioned film at least 2 to 3 years. So these second generations will take much longer than the first generation, and when we come to third generation, it will the third generation of material fully consists of biomaterial and can be divided into 3 main categories according to the origin and production methods. Polymer extracted, isolated directly from a biomass, polymers produced by classical chemical synthesis and biomonomers, and polymers obtained directly from natural genetically modified organisms. So there are different concerns. About 10 years back, I used to use in my email signature, do not print, because I was not that focused on recyclable. So being a machine manufacturer, being equipment supplier, if I tell it to somebody else, who is non-printing, definitely he will listen what we say. So as I said in my opening remarks only, paper can be 5 to 7 times recyclable. So now, after when I got to know these myths, paper is not that danger than the electronic waste. So we have started campaigning on it, and most of our emails will go now, do print. So now I'll just give you few examples. We talk about paper. If we want to make a paper, we have to cut a lot of trees. So there is a lot of eco issues will come. My dear friends, instead of if I stop paper everything, I would say everything is internet. So now today, this pandemic, you all know how many mobiles, how many laptops have been sold across the globe. In US, entire government schools, they have done, Trump has done a survey. Whoever has a laptop or desktops in their home, students' home, that's fine. Otherwise, government have supplied the desktops into each and every student to give virtual education to them, online education to them. The same thing has happened in India. Even below poverty level people, their kids also, they had given a smartphone. So how many days we are using this smartphone? Say example, I'm using Apple 8 Plus. So maximum I can use it about 2 to 2.5 years. And every house could have been having 10 to 15 mobiles, couple of laptops or a couple of old desktops. You all know how much e-waste we generate across the globe. Unbelievable. And for example, recently I've been reading an article, Dharavi, especially in Mumbai, Dharavi, there is a huge slum. In those slums, they collect these electronic gadgets and they remove the stuff, and then they will process it to next day. So they are having a lot of health issues. So if I use 4 to 5 tons of paper, equivalent to if I use 30 minutes of internet. By this time we were completing our session, so we have each and every person could have consumed 4 to 5 kgs. So do not go into wrong statements. Do enlighten your knowledge on it, and then only we can say. We simply say that don't use paper, don't use plastic. But we have to see the essentiality of this. I'm sure, as I said in my opening remarks, plastic will never move out of this world. It will remain, and it will be having a major share. But as I said, we have to be responsible, more and more responsible. We should definitely look into all possibilities, how we can recycle it, how many times we can use it. So what is the possibilities we can do it? So with this, I hope I had put my words in understandable for all of the attendees. Unfortunately, I was had a very tough time last couple of days, so I was not well prepared also. But any Q&A, I am happy to take, Mr. Pankaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Very enlightening session, and yeah, there are a few very interesting questions which have come up, and one of them is something which I was trying to ask. So I will try to combine my question along with that, so it's something very similar. So the question which clearly is saying is that you mentioned somewhere in the beginning that paper can be recycled 7 times. That's something very interesting.
Yeah.
Can you quickly show us, the journey of that paper when you're talking of recycling 7 times? Where does it go? Does it come back to printing industry or does it go back somewhere else? It'll be good to know that.
Can you come back? Can you come back, Pankaj? I have lost the audio.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so I'm saying that you mentioned that paper can be recycled 7 times.
Yeah.
Now, the question, which is a combination of 2 questions, is that what is that form of recycle? Is it getting recycled? I know waste paper is used for printing again, but is the 7 times recycle going back to the printing factory, or is it becoming a raw material for some other industry?
Exactly. Well. You know what happens when you do first time when you do virgin paper, then it can go into craft paper, then it can go into corrugation craft in different crafts, then it can go into making egg plates. We all take the travel. So like this, 5 to 7 times the paper can be recycled. So as I say, same industry it may not be used, but it is our responsibility to look into those kind of, what we do after completing our week or 15 days by couple of weeks, we dispose our raw material. So normally in a printing press where the normal white paper will segregate, then that they will send it to paper mills, and boards and other printed stuff, they've sent it to second grading stuff. So they're, as I said, 5 to 7 times. So they're definitely, but it has to go in a right time, right place. So what we do, how many times, and you will be, I've been attending a TEDx in US. I was found very interesting research done by an Indian, I think IIT Bombay or Kanpur student. He said, last 70 years, India has the finest, chain of recycling setups. All apna gully, in our street, the waste paper collecting people. You all experience that. Every 40-50 days we dispose our newspapers. So that goes into next level, because it is already recycled paper. Most of the newspapers are using recycled paper. So newsprint. So it is going to the next level. So from the newspaper, it may go into some food industry, which will be a transport packaging mode. They will be using it. So there are so many ways.
Okay. So can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah.
It may be a hypothetical question. Do you think the next stage of expansion for a printing company would be into recycling downstream industry?
Very good question, Mr. Pankaj. Last 3 years, wherever I travel across the globe, I will try to find out these kind of customers, and we are in discussion because we would like to, I'm requesting a lot of recycling companies across the globe. There are European, US companies. They, at this point of time, those investments are a bit expensive. I'm sure about it. But once you prove that, you are also concerned about this globe, this particular recycling, your customers may feel very happy. They would love to work with you. So we are working, hopefully by our next print pack edition, we would like to invite at least a few companies to be a part, we are not charging them because we wanted to understand all the converters, how important is recycle also. Very few people in India, there are people are doing, but negligible. We talk about 100,000s of conversions in the country. More than 3,000, 300,000, 400,000 print and packaging companies across the country. But hardly the percentage is negligible, I would say. So definitely, if you focus on these segments, your P&L, your profit and loss also will go definitely on upper next level. So I wish, Pankajji, I wish by next couple of years, hundreds of people would be investing on these niche market.
Excellent. We have one last question. Now, most of the printing consumption or the packaging consumption is in domestic environments. The final consumption is done at home, or I would say offices, where people are essentially consuming, whether it's for communication or for information or for food. Now, habits or infrastructure for managing waste, both in terms of knowledge and infrastructure, is almost non-existent in a country like India. What does an industry or a body like IPAMA can help to make this journey, this change? Because if a waste has to be collected, maybe newspaper collection is already an ecosystem which is operating, because for many years, newspaper was a home consumption item. But if you look at today, with more and more packaged foods coming in, a lot of people eating instantaneous food. I'm staying in Bombay. There was an initiative done by BMC for wet and dry waste collection. It was a complete disaster. It was a complete disaster. It was just a PR exercise. There was no infrastructure kept. There was no education done. How can that improve in the next 5 to 10 years?
You are rightly said. Even in Telangana, most of the states, this is all World Bank will give certain guidance. They have to follow it. Even my home also, the municipality has given blue and green. But when we do it very systematically, the dump yard fellow, he put it in same thing. So there is no point of putting two different things. So that's why people also will change. So now, as I said earlier in my opening remarks, railways have done cut good part. Railway stations, they have been recycled PET bottles. PET bottle system. So this has to come from the corporates as well as entrepreneurs. And you, as you said, point out at association, especially association. In this matter, I would really applaud All India Plastic Manufacturers Association. They have been doing an excellent job. I have been going their exhibitions. Each and every exhibition, they will display those stuffs. That is how, as associations, only can send the information to the maximum level. Governments are only a part of their, government does not have only one point focus. They have thousands of things to do it. So yes, as an association, this print pack, you will see these PET bottles will be displayed in all our print pack. So definitely we are trying to educate our members, and through our members, their families, their employees. So this has to go in a long way. So I'm sure next 5 to 10 years, we can see a wonderful change, a good change, happy changing moments across India, Mr. Pankaj.
Excellent. I think that was, I think most of the questions has been answered. Thank you very much, Mr. Reddy. It was a wonderful experience to talk with you. And thank you for being part of the event, both as a speaker as well as also as one of the exhibitors. And we look forward to continuing our cooperation together, and hope we can do a lot of things in the coming months ahead together.
Thank you very much, Pankajji. Thank you so much.
And wish you a very speedy recovery, and see you back in action soon. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye bye.